Hello,
We are
everybody. We are here. And don't worry, it looks like we're short a member of the evening, but he's on his way. So we're just going to get started and, do our normal thing, introduce ourselves, introduce the team, and what we're going to be talking about tonight. Wow.
It's been a week, everyone.
Guys, as we all know, this week was a full moon, lunar eclipse, super moon, all that fun stuff, and it shows. It's been a wacky, crazy week.
Yeah. You can say that again.
I'm sure you have all felt the vibes.
I had no energy.
Yeah, super drained this week. Anyway, so tonight we have a very special guest that we're super excited about. We are going to be speaking with the one, the only, Mustafa Gatollari.
Oh,
woohoo!
Who's here?
He's here. You're all good. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
So we did have to go live because otherwise Facebook gets mad at us. So we're live right now, just FYI.
Great. Hi, Facebook. How's it going? Zuckerberg's stealing our data. You nerd.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry about that. I was driving back from Brooklyn. There was a ton of traffic.
Ooh. Memorial Day weekend, everybody's going everywhere, so totally understandable.
It was probably a bad day to go out. I completely forgot.
You're funny.
Yeah, I guess.
All good. I grew up in Brooklyn, so I get it. The traffic there can be horrendous.
Yeah, it's pretty bad just trying, especially getting back to dirty Jersey. I mean, nobody wants to come to the lovely Turnpike. I mean, about the Vince Lombardi service area right now.
Oh my God.
Gosh.
What a champ.
Well, thank you for putting in the extra effort to be here.
It's a good lesson in traffic safety. Always pull over before you go live on Facebook.
I'm driving right now, so yeah. Hey, how's it going?
So I'm actually just going to start off by introducing the team and ourselves a little bit before we get into the nitty gritty of all the good stuff paranormal. So we are the Epicedium Paranormal team. We have been in fruition for a few years now. We believe in investigating the unknown, and we believe the unknown isn't just regarding the paranormal in terms of ghosties, but also all the other good and fun stuff, cryptozoology, aliens and UFOs, which are now officially declared as in existence. And, pretty much anything that is possibly going on, happening that people are researching and have experiences with. My name is Gail. I'm one of the founders of Epicedium Paranormal, and I am happy to be here tonight. Next up in our Brady Bunch square is Brittany.
Brittany, also a founder of the team, and so excited to be here and interviewing you, Mustafa. Sabrina.
Oh, hi, I'm Sabrina.
That was fast.
That was a really quick intro. I'm Sabrina, and I'm not a founder, but I found them. Kind of.
Good job.
But here I
I love it.
We brought Sabrina on the team solely for her dad jokes. That's really why she's here.
Well,
I'm leaving.
The second I became a father, I loved every horrible pun. I loved the second I became a dad, I just instantly loved the jokes and everything. So it's terrible.
Absolutely. Well, we kind of did a little intro for you before you got on, but we'll certainly do it again so you can introduce yourself if you would like to. So for everybody watching tonight, we have a paranormal expert, been in the industry for a while now. We all loved him on TV and his YouTube show, Formula of a Haunting. And I believe he also kind of has some books in the works, maybe. Senor Mustafa, thank you for coming tonight.
Hello, Senor. I feel very privileged. That's a very nice distinction that I was given.
Trying to make it special.
It is. It already is.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And so tonight we got a whole range of fun topics to talk about regarding the paranormal. We're excited to pick your brain a little bit and get some of your, opinions, beliefs, experiences, all that fun stuff.
Okay, great.
I think Brittany's up with our very first question.
Oh, yay. All right. So I did see, and at least one of the past reviews that I watched that you did, that you grew up in a haunted house, for anyone who doesn't know. If you could explain how that experience was for you and your family, and if you ever figured out what it was.
Gosh, the experience was pretty magical. When you think about it, you got that. There's something to be said about being a kid. When you're a kid, anything, and in the words of the great Ellie Goulding, anything can happen. I feel like there's so much wonderment out there, and as I was growing up and all this phenomenon that I experienced as a kid, like you kind of like look back and you think to yourself, like, did that really happen? Yeah. Or was my belief in something manifesting it? Or did I just was I the only one who experienced it? Well, I wasn't. It was me, my older brother, my mother, my siblings, everyone in my family experienced pretty much the same exact things. We were all together when the stuff would happen. So like there's been multiple times in my life where I'd have to talk to my mom or like my older brother, be like, I'm not crazy, like that really happened. They're like, yes, it really happened. So the first experience, and I've talked about this a lot, but basically it was from our first night when we moved in. My older brother and I, we were up asleep in our bedroom, and we started hearing all of these noises coming from beneath us. And it was about like 2 a.m., 2:30. It's like we were really excited because we moved from like some like crummy little apartment in Lodi, New Jersey, to this beautiful, nice big house in New City, New York that was empty for 3 years, and we'll soon find out why. And it was just, we hear the noises, and we're like, yo, nobody else is hearing this. So we go out in the hallway, and no one else is up. And I'll never forget, like, we had this big foyer. That sounds so fancy saying it, but there was this nice like chandelier, and I could still see it's so beautiful, like the blue moon like coming through, and it's like kind of like shimmering off the chandelier, and the noises are getting louder and louder as we're walking down the steps, and louder and louder, and we get down to the first floor, and we're like, yo, it's coming from the kitchen. So then we go, and we're thinking like maybe like a raccoon got in the house or like whatever it was. And I was young. I think it was like 4.5, not even like 5 years old at the time. And we walk into the kitchen, and I remember it. It's like plain as day. All of the cabinets were opening and closing by themselves. Just pop, 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 pop. And me and my older brother were like staring, and we look at each other. We're like, "This is awesome! Oh my god! Like, like this is so cool!" Like, and then my mom hears us like flipping out, and we're like, "Yeah." And she comes downstairs. She sees it, and it stops. And she's just like, "Go to your room." And we go up, and then I hear her arguing with my dad the next day in Albanian. My parents are Albanian. And, I was born in Jersey, but everybody's like, "Mustafa, where are you from?" I'm like, "Jersey, man. Like, look at me. I can smell it on me." But we called our my great grandfather to come, and he's a sheikh, and he established the first mosque in Philadelphia, family holy man, and he blessed the place to like stop it from happening. It didn't stop. So we had like phenomena happen all over the years, and I can't say that I know I'm very long-winded, but I can't say that I ever found out, because I don't think you can ever find out. There's like this thing in a lot of paranormal shows where everybody's trying to solve the mystery. Everybody wants to know like the name that came up on the obelisk, and there's an SLS figure, and they're like, "Oh my god, the name Brandon came up," or like Billy came up on the obelisk, and there's this SLS figure on the balcony. That must mean that somebody jumped off the balcony and killed themselves. And it's like everybody goes in there, and now there's a story, and it's like fiction adding on fiction adding on fiction. Mm-hmm. But I would say that there's like things that I pieced together over the years after I became more and more interested in paranormal phenomena and researching that there was somebody who killed themselves in the house, and my brother, I think it was like our first or second week living there, there was a man he talked to in the garage who my brother at the time said had shoelaces tied around his neck.
Oh, wow.
So we don't know how the person died in the house, but a lot of people think that he committed suicide. So there's these things that you piece together. And yeah, so I don't know what it was or what the root of it was, but there was something gnarly going on in that house.
Wow.
That actually is a really good point, because I remember on a past interview we did with Michelle Bellinier, she actually said, because we were asking all these questions, what about this, what about that, like, do you think this could be that? And she finally was just like, stop thinking about the what. It doesn't matter. Think about the why. Why is it doing whatever it's doing, whatever it is, you know? So I totally get when you're like, well, you know, we think we might know, but you can never get the perfect answer, because there's no way to know for sure. Just figure out the why, help the client, and go on from there.
That's it. You know, there's no experts in this field. There really are. There's people who are experienced and they've experienced certain types of phenomena, but to say, like, you know, after you get a lot of activity after a while, like, there's this kind of arrogance that comes with that. That's like so detrimental to anything. Like, confidence kills. It doesn't kill the other person or kill the situation the way you want. It kills whatever you created to help get you successful in whatever you want to do. So confidence kills in a bad way. You start thinking like, I'm the ghost whisperer. You're talking to Patrick Swayze at every turn. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that.
We could certainly tap on that a little bit when we talk about more of the TV aspect of things, but for sure, ego happens in the paranormal. Oh, we have a question.
Oh, hi,
from Jane. Oh, apparently Sabrina's friend Jane. What is your favorite? Group. Oh, okay. Fun. Oh, the trainee group. Gotcha. What is your favorite location to investigate? Great question.
Mm-hmm. There's a few places that I've been to a lot. I've been to Old Nazareth Hospital a lot of times. That place is really cool. I've been to Haldeman Manor in Pennsylvania. But I would say out of all of the cases that I've been on the show, and these are places that I want to definitely get back to, are Fort Stanton in New Mexico and the Halsingland Hotel in Haines, Alaska. I mean, there's so many places. I feel kind of bad because there's like a lot of great spots. I mean, you got the Worley Hospital, you got Galena Marine Hospital, you got the Glenn House. You know, even the Pocatello High School that we investigated was really, really cool, which was our first episode for season 1. But between the Halsingland Hotel in Haines, Alaska, and I would say Fort Stanton, New Mexico, those places they're really, really good. Once COVID opens up, we have the chance to investigate at those locations, especially Fort Stanton. I really recommend everybody go there. That place it's amazing.
Wow. Yeah, I think we're all in a little bit of investigative withdrawal right now because of COVID.
Severely. Yeah.
Yeah, we're twitching a little bit. We're reading
every paranormal whatever book you could ever think of over here. Like, I need something here. Like,
yes. Feed the need.
I get it.
Yeah. Sabrina, I think you got the next question, don't you? Mm-hmm.
I think I'm freezing really bad again.
Oh, your computer? Okay. I can do it. So okay. Between... Oh, okay.
Did I freeze? Crap.
No.
No, I'm just not going to be.
Okay.
Frozen.
So, you're okay. No worries.
I'm going to switch to my phone if you guys don't mind.
Go for it. We'll keep going. We'll keep talking while you do what you got to do.
He's in a car. I'll be on the phone. It's all good. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. No worries.
We have another.
I'll be back. Oh. I don't even know how to get out of this.
Okay, so Jane, awesome. What is your least favorite place for investigating? Also, have you ever gotten scared during an investigation? If yes, would you go back anyway, even though you got scared?
Least favorite place to investigate. I don't have like a place. I would just say places that have like a lot of exterior noise, places that have a lot of like natural EMF or things that could manipulate equipment in a bad way that'll give off false positives. I would say like that for that. I don't want to throw any locations that we went to under the bus or anything like that, but I think any kind of places like that have that type of atmosphere or that type of setting, it's going to be bad for investigating. I don't like investigating outdoors. I would say here's something. A lot of people like to investigate cemeteries, and I get it. We're all kind of like, spooky nerds, and like we're all kind of like goths, and we liked horror movies growing up, and there's a lot of that. But I just feel like if you're dead, why the hell would you hang out in the cemetery? You know, I'm alive and I go to the cemetery to like see my relatives and stuff. So like, why would you hang out there? It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. So I don't like investigating cemeteries. It's weird. Like I'm naturally scaredy cat, chicken poop. Like, you know, I used to scream so much on like rides when I was a kid, they would stop them. Like I couldn't watch Nightmare on Elm Street until I was like 12. It was really bad. Like, yeah. So it came as a big shock to my family when they found out that I was a paranormal investigator and I was like going to these like really gnarly places. I get more scared of like not being able to pay my mortgage. Like that's scarier to me than like ghosts, you know? So I get more scared of like I get more scared of being on my deathbed and realizing like, wow, like I wasn't really trying to be present in my life at all. Like I didn't really go after anything that I wanted to go after at all, whether it's relationships, whether it's jobs, whether it's friendships, whatever it is, that gets me in a way more terrified place because we don't know what happens after we die. Right. But I do know what happens now. And I know if I eat that tub of Ben and Jerry's, I'm going to wake up and hate myself. And I know that if I don't kill myself to do as much as I can in this investigation or this location, like look what happened with COVID. Like, you know, like nothing is a given. Nothing. So even when I'm like, I tell myself this, I don't always do it because I'm a piece of garbage human being. But like, you know, we all fought to get here. We were all this mindless thing swimming up to go and fertilize that egg, and we fought against the stream as crazily as we could. So we all peaked at that point as far as I'm concerned. Like we
won.
Yeah. So like now it's just like, how are we gonna live up to that standard? So that's more scary to me than whether or not there's a ghost. Like there's things that happen where I'm like, oh my God, I should be scared. I got a wife and kids at home. Like, what if this thing drives me crazy? What if I'm not the same person when I get back home? So that's what happened at Fort Stanton. You know, I looked to the camera and I apologized to my wife and kids, but I kept walking down that hallway, like, you know, whatever we saw. So I did that more as like a courtesy to them. But if I see something or hear something, you know, I know, who knows? Maybe next time you'll see me on an investigation. And I'm like running out like a security cat, but it hasn't happened yet, you know. So yeah, that's what's scarier for me.
Oh, question from Elaine. So I just want to ask Mustafa, after he spoke of his uncle blessing the house and it didn't work, do you believe religion plays a part in the paranormal? As in, some people bring holy water and crosses to investigate. Is that important for you personally?
Okay, so you have to think about it like this. And again, I don't want to offend anybody or anything like that, but I probably will. Sorry. But it's kind of arrogant to think that 300 time period, which all of those beliefs were formulated, served the basis for like all supernatural, paranormal, universal, mystical belief. Right. You know, it's not even 300 years. I think it was like 281 year time period. So now that's not to say that those items, beliefs, traditions aren't important. One, there could be entities that had a strong belief in that. And two, a lot of times we've seen that people can kind of manifest their own hauntings or manifest their own activity. So if the belief in something is strong enough, or the belief even as a person of who you want to be and what you want to do, like who the hell 100 years ago would have ever thought we would have gone to the moon or even do this right now with what we're doing? Right. So you can manifest that belief into actuality. So I wouldn't rule anything out. I kind of like to go at it through empirical evidence. What can we document? What can we find proof of? Why are you trying to find document evidence or proof of the paranormal or things that are abnormal? You know, it's very personal for every person, for each individual. So if that means a lot to you, I think it's very important. But I also think it's kind of it could be kind of lazy with some people where like they're labeling everything as like this is demonic, or, you know, oh my gosh, like here's some dude out in, a part of the world where they never even heard of these beliefs, and to think like, oh yeah, I'm going to put some holy water on you, or I'm going to read this ayah from the Quran, or I'm going to get this Buddhist principle and this is going to work. And it's like, this means nothing to this guy. You might as well be showing him an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants. It doesn't mean anything, So I think it depends on the individual.
So when you say that, do you mean the spirit or the client?
I mean, both. Why not? I mean, if there's an entity that's haunting a place that was a diehard Catholic, you got to speak their language and meet at them at that level.
Yeah, we as a client-based team, we tend to always say we find it very important to figure out what the client believes in. What is their belief system? What is their intent? What is going to drive their energy in that circumstance? Because we tailor any solution for them to them. Like, we can't figure out this problem that you're having in your home with your energy if we don't figure out a way for you to help fix it, because we can't do that for you. Like, we can show up with the tools.
Yeah.
But unless your intent is there, we're not going to get very far.
Yeah, well, that's interesting that you say that, because like Dr. Oz, before he became a TV hack, was actually like the most successful heart surgeon in the world. And he was the guy you went to. And he would always, and nobody told him to do this, and he got a lot of flack for it at the time, but he would root people's recovery processes in their belief. What do you believe in? Okay, you're not religious. Okay, what was the religion of your father or your grandfather? What's this thing? And having that hope or that belief in something is what really, really, really gave people something to fight for and cling to. And that's why I think his like recovery rate was like 520% higher than like standard procedures. It was like insane, and that was the root of it.
Yeah, you have to manifest your own recovery in that regard.
Yes, and other influencer sayings, but seriously, it's true. It's true though.
Well, actually, we do have another question. Cool. Do you have any tips for new investigators?
Just be honest with yourself in the investigation. Don't try to force getting an entity dancing for you like a trained monkey or something. Don't run in right away and be like, so I heard you got raped here. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, practice a little bit of decency or like sensitivity and respect. And you're not always going to. People aren't going to accept you all the time. It's kind of weird. Like, imagine, like, you're in college or high school and there's a table of people talking and you go and sit down. It's like, what's up, gang? It's like, get the hell out of here. Like, nobody knows who you are. Maybe that's just a Jersey thing. I don't know. But yeah, you know what I mean? So I think understand that, maybe you're not feeling like investigating on the show. I mean, I was over the moon when I got the show and I got the offer to do it and all that stuff. But like, I remember like Pocatello, like we were there, it was like the second night of investigating, and Brandon and I are driving in the car, and I just look at him. I'm like, dude, I don't feel like investigating at all tonight. I don't feel like doing that. And starting from that honest place and then reflecting on the consequences of how that night's, nothing's a given. Like, what are you going to fight for? And then we ended up having the best investigations of my life up until that point, because we started with that honesty. So you got to be honest with yourself and why you're doing it, why you should, your best friend, why you should want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think a lot of investigators, or newbies, I should say, or people who are interested, they see the TV shows and they think it's going to be fun and games. You walk in there, or they think the opposite. They think they're going to walk into every investigation is going to wind up being a demon. And part of the, shocker. And I think part of the reason why it's so important when people are thinking of joining a team or a team is thinking about bringing someone on is being very honest regarding the responsibility and the work involved in all of that.
It's a lot of work. I'm new. A lot of work.
Yeah.
That just means we're doing it right, Sabrina, with you.
Yeah,
you
you're
feel
really
like
doing it right. You're doing it right.
Elaine, have you have you any interesting thoughts on maybe the physics of how something might manifest, or what kind of things happen in an environment that you believe contribute?
I think the closest thing that comes to mind with that is when I was investigating the Glenn House in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and the Glenn family was a family that they were very wealthy. They were a prominent family in the region, and they lost a lot of their fortunes through a series of unfortunate events. And they lost their house that they loved. And this was like the most baller house in the area. It was like the first one in the area with indoor plumbing, electricity, crazy. I mean, their daughter was with President Howard Taft on a boat ride. Like, this is, and then they lost their house. So the thesis for that case was when a Glenn family descendant, Sarah Glenn Marsh, who's like a great author, she's amazing, she came to visit the place, the activity ramped up. So I started talking about how, almost in a provoking way, I'm guilty of it, about them losing their house and telling them, hey, this isn't yours. And my family, we lost our house, and it was like probably one of the most traumatic things that ever happened. And I'm like 35 years old. I'm just, oh my God, like I can't, it's really, it sucks. So I got scratched all my arm. I always thought that was like nonsense, but like got a burning sensation in my arm, and it was a scratch right down my arm and down my back after I started talking about that. And I felt guilty because I felt like maybe I knew in the back of my mind that I was provoking and I was hitting a nerve. It's a really low blow. So I think that could be an instance of that. It's like, what you're saying, and that's kind of like a crappy thing for you to do, especially on TV, and you're airing that out. So like, what's wrong with you? This is just a classless thing. So I deserved it. I'm lucky to have gotten away with just a scratch, should have been choked a little bit for that. For that, I felt like I still feel really bad about it. So, I think that's the closest thing. I hope that answers your question.
Cool. That has another one.
Oh, okay.
They just
Jane and Elaine dominating tonight. Love it. What is your favorite horror film? We were actually just talking about that as a kid, how you weren't exactly a fan of horror films. And what got you into the paranormal field?
Jeez, favorite horror films. There was this, I forget the name of it, but there was this like Russian, it's not a horror film, but it was filmed like a horror film. It was this Russian World War II film. It was about World War II. And it's just the way it was shot. I'll find the name out of it. I'll look it up. But it was directed by a guy who directed comedies his whole life. It was the single scariest movie that I've ever seen, just because it was like, people are evil, and it's true. It was really messed up. And we're talking like Kubrick type of like one-on-one shots. That Kubrick does that. But straight horror films. You want to go campy? I love The Frighteners. I think that's a great horror film. I really liked God, the movies I find scary aren't horror films. Like Nocturnal Animals is a really scary movie to me. That scared the hell out of me when I watched it. It's so brutal to see what happens to this guy, and he loses his whole family just because he was too weak to like have enough love to stand up for the fact that he loved his wife. So that to me was like really scary. But yeah, like I'm sure like all the other movies are going to come to my head after the podcast is over. But I'd say like I don't know why The Frighteners just stands out to me. I love that movie. Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
Beetlejuice. I loved that as a kid, and I still love it. It's incredible.
Hell yeah. Word.
What got me into the paranormal? The haunted house I grew up in.
Yeah,
that was the biggest thing.
Yeah. Being new to this, how do you prepare yourself for an investigation? That is an awesome question.
Yeah, I think again, it's loading up with whatever you want to get out of a situation. How do you want to conduct yourself? How do you want to be? What kind of character? If you're a character in a great novel, how would that character act? And holding yourself to the fire, and thinking of all the ways that you're like given your own personal crap, how you can mess that up. So I think really working with that from an honest place throughout the investigation, and understanding that nothing's a given, really understanding that's the best way, is being honest with yourself. I know it's like a vague kind of like artsy fartsy thing, but it's not. You have to know what gets you in trouble emotionally. How do you get lazy emotionally or in that way? So when you go into investigation, that's what's going to spark your creativity. It's like, ooh, I know when things don't go my way, or things aren't panning out the way I want to. This is my crutch. This is what I go to being comfortable. So challenge yourself. Do things that are outside of the norm to get yourself to a place that you want to in the investigation. It's more for you. You got to start with yourself, and then if you end up encountering activity, great. That's fantastic.
So do you believe in it? I know you're much more in terms of a scientific, logical approach to investigations, but when it comes to preparing yourself, do you believe in any kind of like psychic protections or spiritual protections before an investigation?
I'm sure that they exist, but I think as long as you're emotionally sorry, is this rain getting too annoying?
No.
Okay.
I'm hearing it too. I literally thought something was going on outside, and then I realized it's pouring.
You hear it? It's bad?
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Oh, no, I hear it in my house.
Oh, okay. No, but like, yeah, I think for me, it's like, that's my psychic protection. I think people go about it in different ways, you know? So by going about it that way, that's the way that I psychically protect myself.
All right, you guys hear me? We're good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I think for me, like, that's how I do it. You know, I'm not saying I'm kind of skeptical of a lot of psychics and people who say that, because a lot of times I'll be on, like, you know, go on cases. I've been on some with some before, and like, well, I thought you said that their name was, you know, Ruby, and it's like, now it's this, and they're like, you can tell that they're kind of just like, you know, coming up with nonsense or talking to flashlights, and it's like, oh, this is what this is, and it's like, okay, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I believe it. I've met some psychics who have told me things that nobody else would know. So yeah, but in terms of the protection, I think it all just starts with working honestly.
How do you feel about trigger objects?
They can work. I mean, we've had a lot of instances where they've
Oh no.
Oh,
It's the rain. The
it
rain
wasn't
is
me.
messing. No. It's the rain. I think it's messing with probably his hot spot.
Signal.
trigger objects, you know, trigger people in Galena Marine Hospital. We brought us somebody who, oh no, sorry, we got it. We're back. Yeah, I think there's people who are, you know, we use trigger. Yeah, we use people as trigger objects, you know. So that worked in Galena Marine Hospital. So it works, man. It works.
Heck yeah. Oh, got another one.
Do you like to know the history of a location before you investigate, or do you find that leading?
Nah, I mean, for me, that's how I investigate. I want to know the history. I want to know what I can talk with. I want to be able to know where I'm coming from. For me, when I go in blind, it's happened where I've gone blind and I've gotten great stuff. But for me, it's really rewarding when I know, and then, you know, it's selfish, but I don't care. I like to know. That's how I like to do it.
Do you ever find though that maybe knowing that a certain person or family lived there or died there, that might cause you to possibly assume that that's the activity? Or do you still like to keep an open mind in terms of like, okay, this could be anybody that died down the street and just happens to be haunting here type of situation?
Yeah. When you start the investigation, you cast a wide net. You know, you're not going in right away and saying like, all right, so Tabula Masukala is here or whatever. I don't know why the hell that name came to my head. That's my ethnic ass. But like, you know, why you know, this person's here, and then it's like, okay, and then you go and you try to work from there. No, I just start. I'll even open it up to not even like people sometimes. You know, hey, is there anyone or anything here that would like to say something? You know, sometimes I think it's entities messing with us, pretending to be like, you know, some other kind of entity. But it's, you know, you always start with a wide net, and then you ask control questions. You know, a device goes off. Hey, are you a man or a woman? And then goes off as a man. Okay, just to be sure, are you a man? Goes off. It's like, are you a woman? Doesn't go off. Are you a man? It's got to be repetitive. You got to get that tediousness. If you don't like tediousness, I mean, anything at a high level, you need to have tediousness. So you just got to get used to that.
I agree.
Yes. What are your thoughts on using apps on an investigation?
You probably shouldn't be swiping left and right on Tinder while you're investigating, unless that's something you're trying to do.
About?
No, phone apps, if you know, a lot of times the antennas in the phones can manipulate equipment. So I think a lot of them, for if you're listen, if you're trying to have fun on like a ghost hunt event or something, do it. Why not? Like, you know, but if you're trying to provide like answers to a client, I would never use a phone app. That's kind of, you know, you're not going to really, because how do you vet that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I
How do
agree.
you vet it?
Your favorite piece of equipment? That
Uh,
classic question that everybody loves to ask. It's a good one though.
It is.
Yeah, I think I like to have a combination of things, but I like keeping it simple a lot of times. I like to have a great audio recorder because we've captured a lot of really cool EVPs. My favorite piece, it's kind of expensive. It's about $250. It's the Ambisonic Zoom microphone. Basically got 4 channels, you know, and you can capture some really good stuff on there. And if you a low cost piece of equipment, you could just get a barometer to test barometric pressure. We've noticed that a lot of times there was weird phenomenon and it was always associated with barometric pressure. If you're trying to detect EMF aberrations, you could just use a compass. You don't need to get an EMF detector or a tri-field meter. A lot of times those are easily manipulated by like walkie-talkies. I've caught people on investigations doing that before, like pretending like they're talking to things and they use the walkie-talkie to key it off. So it's yeah, you know, you can use that. Motion detectors, just cheap motion light detectors, like they're $10. Get them at Home Depot, like a 2-pack for $10. And they're very simple. So yeah, those are some of my favorite things that I like to use. Anybody on a budget, just get motion detectors, compass, and a barometer. There's like a great digital one on Amazon I saw for like $18. You know,
Oh, word.
Or even one of those, like thermal detector, like where it captures the temperature in front of you. You can get those for like $25.
Yeah.
And just moves in front of you. You see a fluctuation in temperature. Done.
That's awesome. Exactly. It's very, very cool. Simple stuff, man. You could go out and investigate with like $60. You put into that and you'll be good. And that's all new stuff. And I'm pretty sure if you go on like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, you could find people who have that stuff lying around.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. Rose Ryan, what would you say has been the most compelling experience you've had at an investigation?
I would say in the moment and then afterwards, Worley Hospital in Pampa, Texas, there was a story about a nurse by the name of Mary Lucille Myers who not once but twice attempted suicide in the place that she worked, and she succeeded on the second attempt through poisoning. And nothing was really happening that first night. We thought we caught something, a shadow figure. Brandon captured it on his body camera. And then we started doing demolition on the building, second floor. I always second guess myself. I thought I saw something in a room. Something's telling me to go into it. I go inside. All of a sudden, EMF starts going crazy, which is nuts because there's no electricity in the building, hadn't been for decades. Starts pointed responses. We radio our team upstairs, which was Grant, Rochelle, and Kristen. We're like, hey, we're getting this activity. And then Grant's like, well, why don't you send it up to us? So we go, we ask like, hey, do you understand? Like, we have 3 friends up there. This is 2 women and a man. They're really cool. Can you go up? And then their EDI starts going off and starts detecting EMF. And then they send it back down to us. But then our motion detector starts going off. Here's where it gets really interesting. The motion detector light, the way it works is that if something's standing in front of it, it stays on until the batteries die, or somebody moves.
Mm-hmm.
So the light's staying on. And we're like asking questions and like, we're like, okay, hey, do you mind? Can you step back? The light starts to fade. Brandon and I are like, after we pick our jaws up off the floor, start going back and forth with questions. There was like, I think it was like 18 and a half minutes of constant back and forth. We got their gender, their job, their name. We kept talking about it, and we like until finally we started talking about this, the suicide, and then it went silent. When we went back to review the audio, after we asked they could step back from the motion detector, you hear a woman's voice go, "Oh, sorry." And that to me was really, really, really cool. And then after the fact, months later, one of our producers, Kaylin Headley, who's incredible, she ended up finding photos of this woman. And it was like, we thought we saw a face in a window, and when no one was in the building, and then we go up and try to recreate it, and then the closest face it looked to was Rochelle's. And this woman, she had same thing, very full cheeks and everything looked like Rochelle. And we found the photos of her. We didn't know what she looked like beforehand. We just had that newspaper article. Sure enough, she kind of resembled Rochelle. Rochelle wasn't happy about the resemblance. She's like, she looked very homely. And then I was like, relax, but like, you know, I mean, she did kind of resemble her. So it was really cool.
That's really cool. And that activity lasted for quite a while.
A long time.
Yeah.
They could have just took that and put that in the episode unedited, and I was like lobbying for that hard. I was like, forget the stupid intros, forget all that other stuff. I'm like, we can put up a blog online and they can read it if they want to. I was like, this should be the whole part of the episode. I think like half of it. It was really cool.
Wow.
It sounds really cool. And it's so rare to get such validated wow, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Evidence.
Responses.
Validated evidence, even after the fact, to kind of just confirm what you were feeling while they're on site. That's so rare.
Yeah. It is. We've captured visual stuff that's like way more impressive, and like audio stuff that's like really cool after the fact. But like in the moment, to have that kind of interaction is, wow, I've been doing this 17 years now, and it's like that's the only time it's ever been that like sustained and that good ever.
Wow.
Yeah,
definitely. What is your least favorite equipment?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna anger a lot of people here, and you know, paranormal garage creators and stuff like that. But I think anything that can be easily manipulated and you can't vet from another scientific industry. So REM pods are cool, but you can easily manipulate them. And I think there's stuff, you know, you got those motion cat balls. People like to use those a lot. They're a little too sensitive, I think, a lot of times. Ovulus, SLS. I'm not saying, I think like those things can be useful, but I would like to call that, anything you gather from that is circumstantial evidence. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying somebody for murder, the two things that are going to be the biggest are eyewitness testimony and hard DNA samples and like video footage of them at the place. Finding a hair sample, that's like, you can narrow that down to like 10,000 people. So that's like, even blood, I think, is like down to like 1,500 other people could have that. So it's like, that's circumstantial evidence. That's not enough to like convict for conviction. Conviction literally just means belief, like, you know, beyond a reasonable doubt. So I think that a lot of those things can be used as circumstantial evidence, but to sit there and to do backflips over a stick figure, you know, near a toilet seat is like, okay, like that's cool, but I wouldn't use that as like the crux of what my investigation is based on.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of equipment can be easily affected by things that you might not even think about, like solar flares, humidity, static, space weather. Like they don't sometimes understand that, like, okay, if it's 90 degrees and humid outside, you shouldn't use X, Y, and Z pieces of equipment because they'll be totally unreliable.
Yeah, that's why I love the EDI, because it kind of has all of those environmental detective conditions built in, and you can cycle through everything and say, okay, this is what the baseline for this is, and then you can even go back and look at the data when you're recording it on the SD card to see where it charted. So it's like, okay, this is what the constant was throughout the entire night. So it's really useful.
Oh, I got a long question.
Oh boy. Do you just want to read it instead of putting it on the screen?
I
mean, you can.
let's see how. All right, it's not. Let's read it and then I'll take it off.
Okay. With the explosion of paranormal tourism nowadays and the procession of fake pictures and dramatic live feeds and maybe even a little drama, hardy har, is there anything that really grates on you in the field, or do you think there's enough serious gra for it to keep people researching?
There's stuff that I'll see, like Brandon shared a clip with me of something where like a ball was moving around and you see this figure, and it looked a lot like the stuff that we captured and stuff that I'd seen with my own eyes. Could be manipulated. I mean, stuff that grates me. I think anger a lot of times at things you should be angry at is very good, because then not to like just hate on people, but for you to hold yourself to a higher standard. And I think a lot of that and hating it is good for you to pep talk yourself to be like, I'm never going to be that. I'm never going to be that ugly. I'm never going to be that person. I might not know what I want, but I know what I don't want. And I don't want that, you know? So I think that's very, very, very important. So I think the thing that grates me a lot are people who are unwilling to try new things, and having evidence for wanting to try new things, you know, being like, hey, this is, and then people who also just want to like kind of like rest on their laurels of like what worked for them, even though like, hey, these are all the problems with it. I hate seeing people talk to flashlights. Like the flashlight trick pisses me off so much, because it's like, did anybody ever consult a flashlight expert to find out why it's doing that?
Right.
I've done it before. I've tried it. I think it could be cool, and it can be used as circumstantial evidence. But to sit there and be like, you see, it went off. It's like, well, what about the 7,000 other questions that you asked?
Right.
I had no response.
Right.
You don't see those on TV though. You only see the ones that go off.
You're talking to flashlights for 2 hours. That's what Trump were doing as a kid, talking to a flashlight. It just, it's crazy to me. It's like it's like it's insane. Like that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like that I don't know why that specific thing just like pisses me off so much. And I've done it, but I'm just like, now it's just like, oh my God, like, and I might do it again. Who knows if it turns out that's something that might happen in my work. But like, I just look at it and I was like, has anybody ever consulted an expert as to like why that happened? I don't think they did. There was somebody who uploaded a video about that on YouTube, and it explains it very well. It's just any little aberration can cause that to happen, you know? So come on.
So I assume you don't use that method, you and Brandon, on formula of a haunting on your YouTube show?
No, I think a lot of that older footage and stuff, you might have like done stuff like that, but there's things now in our new show that we're going to be shooting, which is located somewhere in the Virgin Islands, that we have coming out. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that. But I don't think we're going to be doing the flashlight trick there.
Have you or a crew member ever gotten hurt during an investigation?
Yeah,
like physically or spiritually?
Emotionally. Somebody said I looked fat in my shirt, so like I got upset. No, I've been called an ugly butt hair before, so that's fine. No, I think
butt hairs, that one.
Yeah, one
that one
early one, like a pigtail. I think it's disgusting. I'm sorry. It's like here with like 3 very nice people, and I'm talking about such disgusting things.
You don't even know us.
We're from New Jersey too, sir. So we will get down and dirty. It's fine.
Oh snap! Let's try to elevate this the garden state or the garden skank. Am I right? Again, I can't help it. I keep getting pulled back.
So funny.
I am not. Don't encourage me, please. But no, I would say that scratch that I got. I know Rochelle and Brandon, when we were at Madison Seminary, they felt very ill at one point when we were like pushing this narrative of like, hey, did like gnarly stuff happen here, or people got abused, even though there was no historical evidence to support that. That happened. So yeah, there have been people who got hurt. Eric, our cameraman at Madison, actually got very, very sick out of nowhere. And then the similar feelings Brandon and Rochelle got during that case as well. So yeah, people have gotten hurt that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and another one.
Now things are going back to normal since COVID. Do you think there's going to be a lot of energy in buildings?
I sure hope so. I want to see some action when I go and investigate these places.
Right?
Yeah.
I think
I don't know.
Tired. I got to be honest with you.
Everybody's home. They're like, get out of the house.
Yeah, leave. They're all leaving and going to like abandoned places, and we're gonna go to like, dude, I got away from you. Like, you're not interesting. I don't want to see you sitting on your phone for 3 hours a day scrolling through Instagram. Like, just get out of here. Like, you're not cool. The shows you watch suck. They're not fun. I see the way you make love to your significant other. It's terrible. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like
The
you're
Office
eating
on
like junk.
repeat.
Yeah, they all. Oh my god, they'll watch another episode of The Office. I'd rather. Y'all be haunting places soon.
Oh, I love The Office.
I mean, listen, it's great, but enough's enough. All right, enough's enough. I don't want to hear about the chili. I don't want to. I don't want to hear about it.
No, that's not even my thing.
I don't want to hear about Jim proposing to Pam. Don't want to hear
Oh, they
it.
make me
Oh,
sick.
come on. Oh, they make
All right,
you
I didn't go
sick.
that. I didn't go that far.
No, they make
Come on.
give me Dwight and Angela any day.
I love Dwight.
They definitely are more entertaining. I've been listening to the Office Ladies podcast where they break down every
my
episode
God.
and like the behind the scenes stuff. And
That's
I have to tell you, the things that went on that set are just makes you love the show even more.
Oh, you can tell.
Probably
You can
now.
tell. They had like a great energy about them. It was such a good dynamic.
Well, because Pam and Angela, wow, we're totally off topic, but it's fine. Pam and
Who cares?
Angela are actually best friends in real life.
Oh yeah.
So, and you would never think that Angela's character on the show being as conservative and just like judgy as she was in real life, she's such a kook. Like she's the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, you can tell from her commercials that she does. Like I was like looking at her, I was like, oh my god, this is so funny. She's hilarious. She's great.
She is. She's super funny.
I love it. All right,
Actually-
we have another one. Do you want to keep going?
Should
Yeah. I mean, we do have questions too, but it's okay.
Letting everybody else do the work. Despicable.
Oh, we did no work whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay. When you ask questions, do you record for EVP to get the answers, or do you use a spirit box, or how do you get a response?
We don't use spirit boxes. I would definitely use you have a recorder. We'll go back and listen to it, or we'll ask them to interact or manipulate a device, and then get like real yes or no questions from that, and have them repeat those questions. So whether it's manipulating the EDI, or setting a motion detector off, or knocking, or even making a sound. Sometimes we'll hear noises like voices, disembodied voices in the moment. So we'll have that. Sometimes we'll ask them to like throw stuff at us. We had a rock thrown at us at Waverly Hills, which was really cool. So yeah.
Cool.
Oh, this is
Are
a
you
fun-
going to watch the new Conjuring movie? Oh, wait. I think I might know the response to this because I've heard a previous interview and your opinions on the Warrens.
The Warrens are complete and total utter snake oil salesmen. I think they ruined the field. I think that if you look into their personal histories, they're psychopaths. I would never, if I'll put it this way, if I had kids, I'd never want them to end up like the Warrens. And I do have kids, so I don't want my kids to ever end up like the Warrens. So I'll watch it. I saw the other ones. I think it's like fun, but like, I'm sorry. I know I'm really blunt and mean about it, but like, it's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but if you look into their lives, like they're not anybody I'd ever want to end up like. And I think that they're 100% con artists. So, and there's a lot of them in this field and people you wouldn't expect. So it's me, but I would say, yeah, they saw an opportunity. Old school con people. So yeah, I might watch it. I don't know. Maybe I'm not rushing to go and see it on streaming or in theater now.
I think the second Conjuring movie had an interesting concept that whether the story's real or not, or the experience is real or not, the concept that I appreciated from the second Conjuring movie was they walked in thinking it was one thing, that this old man entity was harassing this family and causing them all this grief and scaring them. And then it turned out to be he was actually the victim and he was being controlled by something else. And I think as an investigator, that was super poignant for people to realize, like, when you walk into a situation where you think you don't always know what you know. And you have to continually analyze and ask questions and look at a situation because you could be completely off base and it could be the complete opposite of what you think it is.
Yeah, I think the movies are more honest than the Warrens with the message that they're trying to get across. I'm being serious. Like I feel like, that, like what you just brought up, that's 100% true.
Mm-hmm. Sabrina, you were going to say something?
Yeah.
I was just going to say, it's the same thing when we did the Chris DeCesare interview, and this whole evil thing was going on. It turned out to be a spirit that was so frustrated it couldn't communicate with anybody. And that's why it seemed so evil. It was just frustrated.
Yeah, that's what I thought was happening at Madison. I think the entities there had enough of people superimposing some type of like evil narrative on there. And it's like, dude, just shut up. Like, I don't want to talk to you. You're annoying.
Yeah.
You know? Had enough.
Yeah. I think people forget spirits used to be alive and human, and they have emotions, and they can get just as frustrated and annoyed as we do in real life.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you have investigators going and asking the same questions over and over again. Did it hurt when you jumped off the building? It's like, dude, I'm just like, bro, I'm just trying to vibe right now. Like, why are you harshing like my buzz, dude?
Now it's Sabrina. She walks in. She's like, "What's your favorite pizza? What's your topping?"
That's good.
Look, everybody's
like
got that friend that likes pizza, and we all know that girl, but no. I love pizza.
I can't.
It's okay. You're allowed to love pizza.
No, like I love pizza.
Me too. Me too.
So good.
But we actually find we get more EVPs when not even asking questions to the spirit. We kind of just go in a room, we sit down, we have a conversation amongst ourselves. And a lot of times when you watch these TV shows, you tend to notice authentic answers and activity happens when they're not even trying to get anything out of the spirit.
Yeah,
they're just doing their own thing.
A lot of times we get the EVPs, it's like underneath people talking. You know, we're just talking about whatever, and then all of a sudden, boom. Or like I'll notice there's like activity going on around us, and if you directly try to like connect, you don't get anything. So then I would like talk for like 15-20 minutes with people, talking about how much we hate like Chicago O'Hare Airport or whatever, and then I'll like jump out into the hallway with like an EDI, and then all of a sudden it's like pressure and all the things are going off, and I'm like, I got you, and then it stops. And I'm like, all right, just tell me here, like, you know what I mean? Or I'll put it on the other side of the building and then go walk around and pretend, and then you'll capture voices in another room or stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you think is the biggest misconception in the paranormal field right now?
Yeah.
I know, gosh. I think it's just that there's a set way of doing things, you know, that there's a lot of people are copying each other. A lot of people are kind of stuck in certain like ways and certain procedures of doing things. So I think the misconception is like solving a mystery, getting the answer to everything every time. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You have to go in and have as great of a time as you can doing the work, and hopefully that resonates with whatever entity's there. And that's the only thing you can hope for. And if it doesn't, hey, you know, life is 99% of the time you fail. That's why we're over the moon whenever anything good actually happens. So I think you just got to cherish those great moments that you have. Not to get all Mr. Rogers on you, but it's true. Like that's what you have to do. So I think a lot of these like, oh man, I'm like such a badass, or I'm a no nonsense investigator. It's like those are the guys that are either frauds or the biggest scaredy cats in the business. So yeah, I think that's I don't know if that answers you, but that's what I have to say. I'm not changing it.
I love it.
No, it's a great answer. Yeah, I think definitely the idea that it's an easy in and out. Okay, we walk in, we investigate, now we have your answer, is a big misconception. I mean, cases can linger for months, sometimes years, until you get anywhere, figure anything out.
That's why it's a miracle, like on the show when we ever got anything. So when I got it, I was like, I'm like, this is gonna be the most boring show in the world. Like the old Ghost Hunter, it's like episodes like the most boring thing like you've ever seen, and it's like, and then that's why I was so surprised. Like when a lot of our season 2 cases, when we were getting stuff, I was like constantly, like Brandon and I were always looking at the producers, like, you guys, like nobody's allowed in. It's just us and the cameraman. Like that's it. And like we would like, I'd have like our own camera set up to make sure nobody's doing anything, and it's like, nah, stuff's legit, man.
That's cool.
Oh, we got more questions.
Okay.
All right.
Would you trust the person who does readings? I guess like card readings, tarot.
Tarot.
I think she
Yeah.
meant tarot.
Yeah,
Tarot
why
cards.
not? Why not? You know, I've never had my cards read. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the Fool a lot. The Fool and early onset diabetes. Like those are going to be my two cards. Are there cards for those? I probably get that one a lot.
You're killing me.
Ulcer. You got the ulcer card. I knew it. Like, you know, so that's probably what I'm going to get, you know.
Yeah, they can
Why
be
not?
funny though. Those card readings. Like the other
Yeah.
day, I did one. I'll be honest. Like I do card pulls every now and again. And the other day, I
Yeah.
was having a just an a homeowner issue, where I got a quote for something that was astronomical, and I was like, man, I really need to do research, yada yada. And I did a card pull, and it literally said, "Explore your options" on the card. And I
Whoa.
was like, you guys are silly. You're funny.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
It happens.
All right, we got another long one. All right.
Okay. I got like 5 more minutes before I got to get home to you guys. If
All
that's okay.
All right,
Is that
no
okay?
worries.
Let me know.
Yeah. That was my next question. EVP that comes in under people talking. So sound is a response to force, etc. Do you think there needs to be sound in TV background, like people talking to each other or asking questions to capture a good EVP?
I don't know. Sometimes just capture things. I know Brandon talked about his like earlier cases where he just caught stuff and was in the house. He just randomly caught it. Like, you know, depends on the nature of the haunting. Hopefully you hope that, you know, you help to cause something to happen with your questions or your presence or whatever it is. Like, hope the ghosts like me, you know, or I don't know. I wouldn't want to keep a TV on in the background. That might help spur something on, but you just don't want stuff that's going to interfere with your equipment.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we do have one last question that we like to ask everybody that we do our Q&As with. And that is in regards to what we call, I'm not allowed to say the actual word because, you know, censors, your oh shizzle moment. And that's the moment where like you are on an investigation or anywhere doing anything and something happens and you go, oh shizzle, this is real. These things exist. Do you have that moment?
Yeah, man. I mean, it has to be when it's like when you have a lot of your equipment, different devices corroborating things. So, you know, Halls and Glen Hotel in Alaska, I felt something that one of the witnesses felt there, which was basically I felt paralyzed. I couldn't move my arms for a few seconds. Then I started smelling this weird musty smell of like mothballs. Daryl thought something charged him. While that was happening, we have pressure changes going off on our EDI. Daryl gets charged again. And then after we go and we review all of our data, as that was happening, when we had the pressure changes, we got 2 EVPs. When I started talking about the fact that my arms were paralyzed and I couldn't move them, Daryl says, I feel a tension in my lower back. Before Daryl says, I feel a tension in my lower back, you hear another voice say, I feel a tension in my lower back. And then Daryl goes, I feel a tension in my lower back. And then while Daryl's getting charged, you hear that same voice say, sounds like it's saying like, it's me, or like whatever it is going through. And then on Daryl's body cam, right before he gets charged, you see a full body apparition behind a doorway look once and then twice and then like move away. And then at the end of the hallway, we had an EMCCD camera, which is electron multiplying camera. That's what we use to detect photon events. There was a report, people see this weird mist going through there, and that mist was going through there. It was all in the span of 43 seconds. So 2 EVPs, personal experience, weird smell, Daryl's personal experiences, pressure changes on the data logger, 2 different cameras, and then our cameraman's microphone picked up those EVPs as well.
Wow.
So it's like you got multiple devices, everything's corroborating it. So it's like, well, what the hell is it? We don't know. But if it ain't normal, it's paranormal. And that's a quote from Brandon Alvis, and I stole it shamelessly. Admitted to it. So I'm a man of honor.
Get it?
Oh, that's
Whatever.
great. Take it. Go with it.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you for spending
Yes,
your
thank
evening
you.
with us. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
The pleasure is all yours.
It certainly is. And if anybody wants to see anything more about your material, your link tree has been scrolling along the bottom of the screen here. So be sure everybody to check that out. If anybody wants to check out this video after we're done tonight, you can rewatch it certainly on our YouTube channel, which you can find in our link tree down below, along with our other Q&As that we have done with other fantastic paranormal industry leaders such as Mustafa. So again, thank you so much for spending the evening with us and answering all the questions.
Please drive safe.
Yes.
Yes, drive
Be
safe.
safe.
I will not. Absolutely not.
Oh,
I'm going to speed like crazy. No, I'm just joking. I gotta go home.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Be safe and thanks so
Take
much.
care.
Bye.
Be well. Bye.